channel. My name is Brittany of BrittanyJJones.com, and in this video we're sewing. We're going to be working on Vogue 9184. It's a really quick and easy dress to sew up. You're either going to have 2 pieces to cut out or 3. I'm going to be working on view B without the collar, but I'm going to use view A length. If you decide that you want to make the maxi version, just make sure that you pay attention in your pattern tissue. You do have extension pieces that you'll need to connect to get that full maxi length. So definitely make sure that you pay attention and don't throw those pieces away, as well as connect them in the right spot. The notions that you will need for this dress, you're going to need a zipper, a hook and eye, some single fold bias tape, and of course your thread. The single fold bias tape is what you'll be using to finish off the armhole as well as the neck edge of this dress. So once you have everything cut out, marked, and notched, we can get started. Alright everybody, so the first step to do to sew in our dress is to go ahead and pin up our darts. We have 4 on our front piece. And so now I have mine pinned up. Now what you want to do is always start at the widest point and then sew to the tip. But you only want to tie at the tip. Do not back stitch at the tip of the darts. Now we also have these are like double point darts. You want to start in the middle and sew to one dot and then tie at the end. What you don't want to do is start at one side and sew down to the other. Start in the middle, sew to one, and then go back to the middle and sew to the other. So let's do that now. So once we have all the darts, go ahead and press them out. And then we're going to go ahead and put that to the side and grab our 2 back pieces, and we're going to do the same exact thing for those darts. So go ahead and pin them up and sew them down. Okay, so go ahead and put your 2 back pieces right sides together, and then we're going to go ahead and pin them together. What you want to do is from the dot going up, you want to baste, and then from the dot down, put your regular stitch in. So the reason that we basted is so we can put our zipper in. So I went ahead and pressed over my seam allowance and have everything flat. Now there are many different ways to put in a zipper, but for this tutorial right here, I'm not using it in invisible zipper foot, but I'm gonna try my best to kind of install it that way. So I'm only gonna be sewing on the seam allowance, as you can see here. And I've pinned down one side of my zipper tape to the seam allowance. So I'm gonna sew that down now. Once I have both sides sewn in, I'm going to go ahead and take out my basting stitch. So go ahead and grab your seam ripper and go ahead and take your basting stitch out. So now I'm going to go back in and I'm going to sew really close to the coils on both sides of the zipper tape to try to get it as invisible as I can. So once you have your zipper installed, the next thing for us to do is to go ahead and take our front and back pieces right sides together. And then we're going to pin at our shoulder seam. So I have my pin, I'm going to sew it down now. The next thing you want to do is go ahead and put stay stitching around the neck edge of your dress. Once you have it stay stitched, I want you to press out one side of your single fold bias tape, and then you're going to line it up. You want that fold that you pressed out to line up with your seam line. So it will look something like this. You will have a little bit of fabric above your tape, but you're going to sew right on that line that you pressed out. Make sure that you sew right on that line. That way it'll be able to fold in the way it's supposed to. So now what you want to do is trim off that excess that you had above the single fold bias tape. Trim off that excess. And then you want to go ahead and fold in your bias tape like I'm doing here. I'm folding everything down. I'm putting pins in it to secure it till I can sew it. So it should look a little something like this, and then you're going to sew right on that edge like I'm doing here. So once you have your single fold bias tape sewn around your neck, you want to go ahead and sew your side seams down. So go ahead and put your pieces right sides together, line everything up, pin it in place. And then if you're going to do the side splits, make sure that you stop at the dot. You should have transferred the dot so that you can leave that open. But for me, I'm going to just sew completely down the side. But if you want to stop, make sure you stop at that dot to have your side splits. So the next step for us to do is to put stay stitch around the armhole the same way we did for the neck edge of our dress. Then you're going to take your single fold bias tape and do the exact same thing. Press out one side. Pin everything down. Make sure that you have it lined up with your seam line. Once you have it all pinned and ready to go, you can go ahead and sew that down. And then for me, I decided I didn't want to just lap the bias tape over each other, so I sewed the 2 ends of the seam allowance, the single fold bias tape. I sewed the ends down together first, And then I'm gonna sew them to the dress on the seam allowance like I'm doing here. And then I'll be able to fold everything in together. So that's how I decided to do my single fold bias tape for my armholes. And as you can see here, I trimmed everything and now I'm going to fold it in and sew right on the edge, the same exact way we did for the neck of our dress. Once you're done, it should look a little something like that. And don't forget to be pressing your dress as we're sewing it along. The last thing for us to do is our hem. So go ahead and fold up your hem and go ahead and sew that down. And once you're done with your hem, you're all done with your dress. I hope that you were successful in making your dress. If you have any questions, leave them for me below. And yeah, I'll talk to you all on the next one. Blessings, everyone. Bye.